What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Roughing with the Sappers. Today, we're going to review a game from August 20th that was at the SAC United tournament in Sacramento, California. This was a U17 Boys game between North Coast, who will be in the red uniforms, and Association Football Club, which was in the white. So, this was an interesting game. We get some comments that are kind of entertaining from one of the coaches, and yeah, let's get into it. For this game, I was the center referee, but my two assistant referees were two other adults who were helping out with this tournament. Katie actually wasn't on this game, though you were actually sitting and watching from the sideline. Given the way that they assigned it, they were trying to give us each a certain number of games, and this was a game where Katie was resting. So,
I'm aware you guys will not be blessed with my amazing AR skills, but I heard a lot from the close sideline because that's where we were set up. So might be able to get a little bit of intel here.
let's get started. In our first decision of this match, it happens a couple of minutes into the game. White is on the attack here. They've got the ball. They're coming through, and then there's going to be a handball right there where it hits this red player in the hand and just drops right down there at his feet. Obviously, that's very clearly a handball foul, so we'll call it, grant the direction, and give a direct free kick from there. They don't get a whole lot easier.
I mean, they do when the person catches them in their hands.
Here we're going to see a moment where there's a trip. White's got the ball, and as they're coming through here, these two players get tangled up with him, and this white player goes down. If I back it up there, right there, he's like got the ball, but then this red player kind of comes in behind him. This other red player comes from the front and tries to slide tackle it, but what really gets him, I think, was this player behind him that clips him from behind, pushes him down, and it's I think I called that as a trip on the field, trip or a push on the field. A little bit hard to see from this angle because there was a body in the way, but it was pretty obvious on the field. We grant the direct free kick and we keep going. Couple minutes go by in this game, and now we're going to see what was ultimately kind of a light call in the game. But remember, these are U17 boys. I want to try to intentionally call this a little bit tighter because I don't want things to get out of hand. And if you let some of the light pushes go early, things can kind of escalate on you. So I intentionally went into it with the mindset of calling it tight. Well, look here. White kind of gets possession of the ball, and right there, red kind of comes in behind him. And what I really didn't like was right there, that arm extension. And even though he didn't go down, right, and he really maintained control of the ball, I could have let that play, but just, that kind of thing, it just can get out of hand pretty quickly on you. So I decided to go ahead and call that. Didn't want to see those intentional pushes and just wanted to set a tone early in the match.
Our next call is going to be an offside decision. So we're playing it really, really slowly because it is such a hard call to see from this angle if it's actually on or offside. Right now, there's a player on the far back corner right there. And right now, he definitely looks off. But as we continue to see to the play, the red player that the cursor is on right now, he continues to step farther and farther back. And right here is around the moment of decision. So the thing that's really hard with this call is because the red player that could be keeping him onside is closer to us, and we have a really bad angle to see like the farther away things. So it looks like he could be on or offside just by like the camera angle, but the AR is also in like a really good position to see it. And even though it is close to be looking onside, I don't think there's enough to really overrule the call based on this angle. So I think it is a right decision.
Yeah, the AR is in perfect position, so no reason for us to doubt it here, though on the camera it's super close.
Yeah.
About 3 minutes go by in this match before our next call, which is a trip. And the ball's kind of bouncing around. It's going to be hit by this player on the far left side of the screen in red. And then this white player here, kind of in line with where I'm standing, is going to challenge with this other red player on the other side of him. So right there, they're both kind of going for that ball. And when it's a loose ball like that, that's when you kind of have to have your radar up looking for a foul. But basically, they both got equal opportunity to get to that ball, but this red player sticks his foot out trying to get the ball. But in the process, this white player who also was coming through, he really gets tripped and pulled over there. Now, the ball kind of squirts out over there, but I think that's more because the white player actually got it with his toe and flicked it over. Um, and it's not because red actually got it. So White ended up getting the short end of that. It's really close to a fraction of a second. It could have gone a foul the other way. But in this case, called the foul for White. Really felt like Red put everything at risk by sticking his foot out so far and caused the trip. So we end up calling that and granting a direct free kick for White. Our next moment was a no call on the field that could have become a penalty kick if it had gone the other way. But let's watch it here. Red is on the attack. The ball's coming in and it's going to be going to this player here in red. And right there, there's a challenge for it. And red ends up going down. White wins the ball. Let's back it up and let's play this in slow motion. So ball's bouncing up there. Red tries to body it. Ball kind of bounces there, and both this these white two players get in there, and you see White's foot go up. Sometimes you might look and say that's a dangerous play, but honestly, from my angle, I saw the foot was still further out, and in fact, his foot was actually closer maybe to his teammate, but and not really close to the red player. But red comes in and tries to kind of kick through, and you see the ball on the backside here. This red player almost kicks the white defender and not the ball. And so, even though red ends up falling down, I didn't end up seeing any push. I didn't see any charge. I just saw red kind of, throwing his body trying to get that kick. And then he throws himself kind of bouncing against this white player and falling down. The sideline, you kind of hear somebody yell, "Hey!" Let's even play that here. You hear him yell, "Hey, what?" And because they want a penalty kick there, but there's really no foul there, and nothing I would ever really call. So feel like that's a good no call, and we kept going.
Our next call is going to be advantage on the field. So right there, white is going that way. They're on like a fast breakaway, and red shoves them to the side. But the ball's still going forward. It's going to their teammate. So even though that is a foul, it would be more advantageous for them to continue going forward. So he calls that as advantage.
Okay, here we're going to see a call for a dangerous play for a high kick. Right here, the ball is coming into the middle. It's bouncing up in the air. So this red player is going to try to go up and kick it. In the process, he kicks right up to really the chest area or lower neck area of this white player as he comes through. It's just loose ball, two players trying to go for it. But putting his leg up like that makes it dangerous. So we go ahead and we call that for an indirect free kick for playing in a dangerous manner.
Yeah, good call. Also, I have a cat. He let me bring a cat. Please put this in the actual like video.
Nobody likes the cats.
The cat will be joining us for some of the reviews, so please enjoy. She's so sweet and I love her, so she's gonna be on my lap, okay?
No
So if
one
you see
likes.
like a little head poking out, that's her.
Mm. Immediately following the restart from that foul, we've got the ball here. My hands up for the indirect free kick. This white player is going to kick it up to his teammate who's up here. And in the process, this player is going to take the possession, and this red player is going to come from behind and try to do a slide tackle. Now you'll notice that he gets in there and he gets the ball, and the ball does go away. So the red player did actually kick the ball, if I remember correctly. But in the process, he goes through the back of the legs of that white player. So this is one of those prime examples of where getting the ball doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want afterwards. If you initiate illegal contact after getting the ball, then it's still illegal contact. I end up going ahead and coming over here, and I actually give him a yellow card. Now he's up there and he's saying, what? I got no ball. And even some of the parents over there are basically yelling at me saying, hey, he got all ball. He got no ball. I'm like, one, he didn't get all ball, right? Because you see how that player fell. And what the call's really for is his one leg did get the ball, but his knee went through the back of the legs of that red player, which I just really felt was very reckless and was illegal contact afterwards. So I go ahead and I give him that yellow card. Now it's interesting, the coach on this sideline for the red team, he didn't say a lot during that actual call, but a little bit later, he actually asked me what was the call for. And frankly, I must have misunderstood him because I thought he was actually asking about the dangerous play, because he said, "Hey, how was that dangerous?" And in my mind, thinking back at the last two calls, I was thinking about the high kick being dangerous. So I explained, well, coach, his leg was way up by the player's face. And it turns out he was actually asking about this particular call, and he was asking why was it a yellow card, and was it a yellow card because it was dangerous? Well, I end up figuring that out at halftime, and I end up trying to explain it to him afterwards. But
I was on the sideline with that coach, and he was so confused about that being the explanation. He was so confused.
in our final call of the half, we've got a handball. So the ball's coming up here, goes to this white player. He kicks it up, and it comes up off his foot, comes up to his arm, which is kind of out like this. And we go ahead and see that right. Yeah, right there you see his arm's kind of out, and the ball flies off. We go ahead and call it for a handball, and that ends up wrapping up the half. At halftime, I actually realized that the coach had been asking about the yellow card and not about the high kick immediately before the yellow card. So I actually hear, you see me right there. I start going, talking to the coach and saying, "Hey, coach, were you asking about the yellow card or were you asking about the dangerous play before?" And then he says, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I wanted to know about the yellow card." And I said, "Oh, the yellow card was because he came in kind of a reckless manner from behind." I apologized for kind of missing the explanation or the miscommunication, because we were kind of talking about two different calls there. So, anyway, let's get the second half started.
So with the scoring, we kind of got off track in the first half, so we just updated the score to what it should be. And just in case like anyone goes back, it is 2 points, one for the correct foul and one for the correct yellow card. So it should be 11 right decision calls in the first half. Just as the second half started, we've got a really obvious charge. So even when the ball is yards away, the red player still looks the white player in the eye and proceeds to body him like he's in American football and not the rest of the world football. So I think that this is a very obvious charge and is definitely a right decision.
Yeah. And I even after this, you see me, I go up and I talk to him because I basically, I don't want that to get out of hand. So I go up, I talk, say something to that player, say, "Hey, look, you're a big guy. You're going to have some momentum, but like you got to pull up on those. We can't have that." And then I tell him where to go. But yeah, didn't want that to happen anymore.
Yeah.
A minute and a half later, down on the far end of the field here, we see there's kind of a bump and a challenge there, but then white gets possession and red gets a little bit frustrated and kind of pushes him down there. Now, that might not have been a foul had he not extended the arm, but you can see his arm extension happen here right there. His arm's out, pushing that player down. You can see even my AR, he signals right away. I called it as well. Or ends up being the correct call for a push there. Next, we're going to see a moment here where it was a no call on the field, and it's on the far side here. This red player who's in the middle of a sprint right now, and this white player over here has got the ball. But red kind of comes in, and right here he does a nice slide tackle, and he kicks that ball out of bounds. Now, in the process, white ends up running into him, but red gets the slide tackle. Then White's momentum carries him into red, who was already following. Did not feel that that was illegal contact at the time, and nobody argued afterwards. You see their body language; they get up and they go back to playing. It's close to what happened in the first half when we did think that there was a foul afterwards, with the difference here being what the nature of the contact is after the slide. So I just felt like that was fair contact, and we let it play. White's got another attack here as the ball's kind of headed off towards this corner, and Red's coming in trying to challenge for it, and in the process, he really kind of kicks up into the stomach of this white player. White battles through it, goes on. I end up signaling advantage. I'm not on the screen here, but I end up signaling advantage for that and letting them go ahead and have that down and go for this cross. So felt like that was the right call, and let it keep going.
Our next call is going to be our first missed call of the match with a no call. So red just goes and tries to get the ball, but the white player kicks it away, and the red player just goes through a bit of his foot.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know why I didn't call that in real time. Looking at it on the video, now granted, the video sees exactly
Yeah,
what happened between them, whereas my angle, I would have been looking more through the black back of the white player. But even just the way that he falls, it's pretty obviously a foul. You can even see all the body language of the player. They're all like, "Hey, that's a foul." They're expecting a whistle, and so when I don't say it, they suddenly their coaches start yelling, play on, ball's still in." But
yeah.
yeah, definitely a missed call on that one. Should have called that one.
Our next call is going to be controversial, so please have a cat before you continue on with your viewing pleasure.
Yeah, as Katie says here, this one is controversial, and we're going to listen to some audio. But like, let's watch here. White ends up getting this ball, and he's really kind of going straight into the goal. And this number 24 in red is a few yards behind him and rushes in to try to get this. So let's watch it in real time. Right there, he pushes him down hard. Now, if we go back and play this in slow motion, 24 is catching up and he gets close to getting beside him, but you can see like his left leg is still well behind the leg of that number 20 and his arm is coming into his back. Now, from this angle, we don't have the best view. I'm actually standing over here to the left with a perfect view of what's happening immediately between them. And I did see that push that came up right up, on his shoulder blade and his back. To me, on the field, this was a yellow card every day of the week and
Yep.
twice on Sunday. And so I immediately go over, I pull out the yellow card and I give him the yellow card. And in fact, I'll tell you in real time, I actually debated, given how I saw him chase the kid down and push him, like for a brief period, I went through the back of my mind, should I go red? Ultimately, I decided not to, and I think that's the right call. But it was definitely in my mind a yellow card. Now, it is interesting that from this angle, it does look like it was closer to shoulder than it was from my angle on the field. So after I give him this yellow card, we hear some comments from the coach on the sideline. So let's listen to those here.
Referee, yellow card? How about don't call it a foul? It's a shoulder to shoulder.
So to me, that was a very funny exchange because in my mind, there was zero doubt that was a yellow card. And I had even for a brief moment considered should it be a red. And so you hear him say, "A yellow card, really?" And then I said something like, "Well, coach, do you think it should have been a red card?" And then that's when he says, "Well, how about no foul at all since it's shoulder to shoulder?" Now, you see, I turn back and I look at him. I've got my hands on my shoulder. I'm giving him I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed look.
You were sassing him hella hard.
That look says, dude, you can't be serious in asking for that, right? Now, I will say, going back and watching it on the video with this camera angle where you're looking through them rather than from the side that I had, I can understand a little bit more why he thought what he thought, right? I still think my call was right, and I still think I had a much better angle than the camera here. And even with the camera, I can still see him go through his back. But it was a funny exchange at this moment. And Katie, you were sitting right over by him.
Yeah, I kind of had like the same view as he did, so I was like, maybe from this angle. It definitely looked like it could be a foul from a different angle and a really hard foul based on the speed that he was going in. So we should play it further on so I can
Yeah.
tell my story.
I thought we were playing in the top division. I mean, you guys are good. I'm saying the rest, you know what I'm saying?
So after this, since like I'm on the sideline, I'm really close to him. I have a book out and everything, but like I'm still kind of paying attention. I'm listening to music. And so as he like continues arguing, I can hear him really clearly. So when we continue to play it,
I mean, you guys are good. I'm saying the rest, you know what I'm saying?
so right there he was like, I'm saying that you're good, but like the ref is, and he was like talking to his players, and at that point I like looked up from my book and was like,
You're giving him bombastic side eye.
I'm like, I was giving him hella side eye for that. I was going like, and then he looks over at me,
You're chill.
and goes, "Nah, you're chill, you're good," and continues on Hayden. And like I'm at the sideline. I actually have like my yellow uniform already on, so he can clearly tell that I'm a ref. And he goes, "Nah, you're chill, you're good." After dissing the referee, I was like, "Yeah, it was hella side eye. It was fun."
It was just a funny exchange all the way around, and it was one of those where angles make a huge difference. Like my angle, I saw exactly what happened between them. It was very obvious from this angle and the angle that the coach had. It's much harder to see. If you know what you're looking for, you can still see it, but it can be deceptive in how it's there. So ultimately, I think that's all the right calls, including the yellow card. So keep the
We
game
carry
playing.
on.
Couple minutes go by and we're going to see another foul where we call it and it could have been a yellow card here. So White's on the attack, and as he comes through, Red challenges for that, and you see White go down dramatically. Now right here, they're both trying to get it. Red tries to make this slide tackle in there, but he misses it. White goes ahead and kicks it out, and in the process, Red ends up tripping White. So I do end up calling that, and what I will tell you is if it had been a different moment in this game, I probably would have issued a yellow card here. But this player who commits this foul, it actually would have been his second yellow. He was the same player who committed the foul just a moment before. And I felt that the way that this White player rolled, like he was trying to sell the foul a little bit. Now, it was a foul on the harder side, but just those extra rolls made me feel like he was trying to draw something extra there. And so I decided that I didn't want to issue a red card there, but instead I would talk to that number 24 and basically say, look, normally I would give a yellow card for that. You are already on one. I'm not ready to send you off just yet, but you're out of extra grace. I'm not going to give you any more grace the rest of this game, the next thing, anything like that, and you're out of here. So if we watch this here, I end up coming over. First, he doesn't even think it's a foul. He's wondering what's going on. I think he's also worried there. I'm going to give him the card. But I go ahead and I talk to him here. Ultimately, I think that ended up being fine for game management here. I do think the White player was trying to sell it a little bit. I do think it was a harder foul, but I end up getting the message across here, and he doesn't actually end up committing any more fouls the rest of this game. Couple minutes go by, and we've got Red here on the attack. But as the White player gets in defensive position and really kind of steals the ball from him, picks his pocket a little bit, Red gets a little bit frustrated, falls down there, even reaches out and taps his player on his ankle a little bit, ends up sending him down. So call that as a trip. Grant the direct free kick to the defense there, and 100% the right call. Easy to make. The next decision in this match is one that it happens mostly off screen, so we won't even be able to see it until maybe after it's happened. I made it a no call on the field, but I will tell you a few seconds afterwards, I felt like I probably missed that one. And even my ARs, when we talked afterwards, we all kind of thought maybe that was a missed call. So we'll watch here. The ball's being kicked up, and then right here off the screen, we catch them come into the screen just as this player is about to fall down. So you see this red player, he's got his arm out some, see White going down, and then they go and try to get the ball. So I didn't see 100% of that. The ball was coming up. Honestly, I thought White was kind of just a little bit awkward. With the video camera here, we see the arm out. A few seconds afterwards, when I was replaying this in my mind, even on the field, I thought, I might have missed that one. So we're going to end up doing a deduction for that one because really looks like it was pushing back.
Yeah, I've got something to say too. The red player that committed the foul, you're cute. Like if you see this, comment. I'd love to get your number.
And I would not love for her to
I would love to get
I
your
would not.
like we're in the same relative age group. Our grades touch if you're juniors to like
Not approved. Our final decision of this match was a trip where we issued a yellow card. So let's watch it here in real time. White's on the attack, and then right there, Red just trips him. If we go back here, what we see in slow motion is that Red doesn't even really try to play the ball. He just tries to get his foot in front of him, trips him, he goes down. Felt that was reckless. in real time when I watched it, that was on the borderline for me of whether or not I would issue a card. I thought red was trying to get the ball, but my AR had a much better angle on it and saw that red wasn't really even trying to play the ball. So not only did he signal for the foul, he also tapped his chest to signal that he thought it should be a yellow card. So that pushed me in my decision making process over the hump to say, yeah, okay, I'm going to go ahead and issue the yellow card there. So end up going ahead, running over. I give him the yellow card for that play. Now, after giving that card, we end up getting some more noise from this coach on the sideline. So let's listen here.
Why did a card? It's just a foul.
You hear him kind of processing. At first, he didn't realize it was a card. So you hear him say, "Oh, so it was a card. Heck, it was just a foul." Well, okay. Clearly, this coach threw the game. I don't know if he just wanted to play rougher or he just thought his players didn't commit anything card worthy. But really, watching it here on the replay and in real time, we thought it was a yellow card. We give the yellow card, and that's the right decision, I think.
And with that, that concludes our match. So with 22 decisions and 2 deductions, that gives us a final stopper score of 90.9, which means that it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, felt really good about that one. And ultimately, this ends up being a game where it's a tournament. They're only playing 30-minute halves. Only 22 decisions. That's fewer than we've had in many of our other games. So ultimately, it was a clean game, just some hard fouls in there. Some interesting commentary from the coach a couple of times, but those happen in games like this, especially in tournament. People take them pretty seriously. So join us back here next Friday for our next game review. I'm Scott.
This is the Cat, and I'm Katie.
And we'll see you out on the pitch.
I got the Cat's experience. But seriously, that red player?
Don't comment. Don't comment.
Down here.
Okay.
Do it go like this? You're like super close.
I've never noticed it.
I'm trying to get away from your arm hairs. Because usually, like, we're over here like this, and, like, your elbow and hairs are touching me, so I go like, oh, look at me over here.
What's wrong with my arm hairs?
I just don't like it touching me.
It was flexible in that definition. Come on. Squish. Oh. Okay.
The training's going good, guys. Basketball. Let's see if anyone's not me. No cute boys yet.
Well, given that you're not 35, you feel like your veins are popping.
Not like Aaron's veins are popping, but they're very visible. Apparently, that's weird. Oh, look at that. It's like...
It's just your white skin. And your tongueness.
Carlos actually asked me recently, have you done any U19 games?
Which no.
Yeah, you've assigned me to multiple. None of these players were cute. I think Placer players have, I think the Placer team has the best looking players, honestly.
Okay.
Wait, can we bring in the cat?
No.
Please. Please. It would make for great bloopers.
No.
People want to see cats on the channel.
No.
Bro got denied. He was playing football. He was playing American football, guys. Okay, guys, this is going to be the first call of the second half, and I've got a cat. So it's very important. Please include this in the actual thing, because she's so cute. Okay, anyway. He's cute. Also, the red player.
Okay.
If you see this, get a comment. I'll give you my number. You're cute. This is the cat.
I'm Scott.
I'm Katie.
This is the cat hair. And we'll see
See
you out on the pitch.
No.